1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. 9 cabinet ministers have been sworn in. It has been emphasized in Parliament today that the next 12 months will be more crucial and a difficult period. 39,000 metric tons of gas have arrived in the island. 80,000 gas cylinders will be distributed per day. G7 backs debt relief efforts for Sri Lanka. Foreign news, the US President says US fully backs Sweden and Finland NATO bids. News in detail. 9 new cabinet ministers have been sworn in before President Gotabaya Rajapaksa this morning. The newly appointed ministers are as follows. Nimal Siddhipala de Silva, Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation; Susil Premajayant, Minister of Education; Keheliya Rambukwala, Minister of Health; Wijayadasa Rajapaksa, Minister of Justice, Prisons and Constitutional Amendments; Harin Fernando, Minister of Tourism and Land; Ramesh Patrana, Minister of Plantation Industry; Manu Shananya Kara, Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment; Nalin Fernando, Minister of Trade, Commerce and Food Security; and Tiranalas, Minister of Public Security. Parliamentarian Ali Sabri said in Parliament today that the next 12 months will be more crucial and a difficult period. Therefore, speedy solutions should be sought without irritating the society. No room will be given for anyone to take the law into their hands. He said one rule should be implemented for all. The necessary finances should be found to obtain fuel and fertilizer until the IMF financial assistance is received. Measures will be taken to increase the powers of the working committees. Leader of the House Dinesh Gunawardena said that draft bills to amend standing orders of Parliament will be submitted soon. He said these remarks in Parliament today. Meanwhile, the first report of the COPE Committee of the 9th Parliament has been submitted to the Parliament today. It was submitted by the parliamentarian Professor Tissa Vitharana. The report includes information on the investigation of the audit report of 7 state institutions. Chairman Vijitha Herat today said, with the receipt of 3,900 metric tons of gas yesterday, Litro Lanka said that they would be able to distribute 80,000 gas cylinders per day, provided the calm weather returns. The gas shipment has already sailed into the port, but we are unable to unload it due to the rough sea situation. He said the company had managed to distribute 35,000 gas cylinders around the country. 30,000 gas cylinders were delivered to other provinces and only 5,000 gas cylinders were distributed in the Western Province. However, the Litro company has planned to distribute 50,000 domestic gas cylinders today around Colombo, its suburbs and other provinces. The Group of 7 economic powers support efforts to provide debt relief for Sri Lanka. G7 finance chief said yesterday in a draft communique from a meeting in Germany after the country defaulted on its sovereign debt. G7 countries said in their statement they were committed to finding long-term solutions for the Indian Ocean nation and urged it to negotiate constructively with the International Monetary Fund on a potential loan program. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The G7 stands ready to support the Paris Club's efforts in line with its principles to address the need for a debt treatment for Sri Lanka, they said, referring to the group of mostly rich creditor nations. The government of Sri Lanka notes with regret the adoption of a motion in the Canadian Parliament on the alleged genocide of Tamils in Sri Lanka and recognizing May 18th as Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day. The government categorically rejects the blatantly false allegation of genocide contained in the parliamentary motion with reference to Sri Lanka, which contradicts the official position of the Canadian government. That is, it has not made a finding that there was genocide in Sri Lanka, the Foreign Ministry said in a statement. Today, 13 years since the end of the conflict, Sri Lanka has made significant progress in its process of reconciliation, which is ongoing and on which the Canadian government has been regularly apprised. And that ends local news for now.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka says that power supply will not be interrupted after 6 p.m. from the 23rd of this month to the 1st of June in order to facilitate 517,496 candidates facing the 2021-2022 GCE Ordinary Level Examination. Chairman of Electricity Sector Regulator Janaka Ratnayaka said the decision was taken at a meeting held with the officials of the Ceylon Electricity Board yesterday. The focus of the discussion fell on the measures that can be taken to reduce the duration of power interruptions to facilitate the exam candidates.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
This is Watchlight.
The Commissioner General of Examinations LMD Dharmasena said that although the Education Ministry has declared today as a school holiday, the ministry requested the staff relevant to the GCE O-level examination to report for the prescribed duties as previously assigned. He further requested the principals of all schools used as examination halls to report today and assist in the duties of preparing the examination halls. And that was Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
In the headlines, the U.S. President says U.S. fully backs Sweden and Finland NATO bids. U.S. Senate approves $40 billion in aid to Ukraine. Monkeypox cases investigated in Europe, U.S., Canada and Australia. World news in detail now. Sweden and Finland have the full, total and complete backing of the US in their decision to apply for NATO membership, President Joe Biden says. Both countries submitted their applications to be part of the Western Defence Alliance this week, making a major shift in European geopolitics. To join the alliance, the two nations need the support of all 30 NATO member states. But the move by the Nordic nations has been opposed by Turkey. Speaking alongside Swedish Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson and Finnish Prime Minister Sauli Niinisto at the White House yesterday, Mr. Biden called Sweden and Finland's applications a watershed moment in European security. The U.S. Senate approved around $40 billion in additional aid for Ukraine yesterday. The bill is expected to be quickly signed into law by President Joe Biden. The Senate approved the bill by a vote of 86-11. It includes the provisions of weapons and economic assistance to Ukraine's government, as well as humanitarian aid. The New York Times says when combined with $13.6 billion in aid in March, the measures amounts to the largest package of foreign aid passed by Congress in at least 2 decades. Cases of monkeypox are being investigated in several European countries, the US, Canada, Australia and the UK, according to health authorities and local media reports. The latest new cases were reported in France, Italy, Sweden and Australia. It follows the confirmation of cases in the US, Spain and Portugal on Wednesday, as well as the investigation of 13 suspected cases in Canada. Monkeypox is most common in remote parts of Central and West Africa. Cases of the disease outside of the region are often linked to travel to the area. Back to the headlines of the world news. The U.S. President says U.S. fully backs Sweden and Finland NATO bids. The U.S. Senate approves $40 billion in aid to Ukraine. Monkeypox cases investigated in Europe, U.S., Canada and Australia. And that was world news, and now we move on to development news. A program to develop rubber cultivation and the production will be implemented in the southern province. It will be implemented through the Turusavia societies established in the Gaul, Matra and Hambantota districts. The necessary equipment for the program will be provided by the Ministry of Plantation Industry. And that was development news.
Sports news is brought to you by
Sampath Bank, we present your future.
Andrew Charles Morrison of Scottish origin, a former player of Manchester City, UK, and Keith Stevens from Australia were appointed as head coach and assistant coach for the national football team by Sri Lanka Football, respectively. This was a historic decision taken by the current administration of Sri Lanka Football to appoint high-profile foreign coaches of the national teams. Another match of the IPL tournament will begin tonight at 7:30 p.m. This will be the 68th match of the tournament. Rajasthan Royals and Chennai Super Kings will compete. And that was sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSP You Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Sri Lanka Deputy High Commissioner Dr. D. Venkateshwaran says that several Indian investors based in Tamil Nadu are keen to invest in Sri Lanka as they see the current economic crisis as an opportunity. The Deputy High Commissioner said he will also talk to major companies including pharma, motor car component manufacturers and trade chambers to have their future expansions, fresh investments or value-added investments in Sri Lanka. They could start manufacturing in Sri Lanka and use FTA and re-export to the region including Pakistan, and he has received positive feedback from them. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSP You Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The central bank said that Sri Lanka will lower the limits on foreign currency note holdings of public to $10,000 from $15,000 and crack down on anyone holding them for over 3 months. Holders of currency notes will be given a grace period and they will then be expected to deposit the money into the banking system.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall Gold Award whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
The weather report.
The Met Department says that showers will occur at times in the Sabaragamu and central provinces. Several spares of showers will occur in the western and northwestern provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. Strong winds, about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour, can be expected at times over the western slope of the Central Hills, northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in the Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. And that was the weather report. And to end this news broadcast, a reminder of the headlines. 9 cabinet ministers have been sworn in. It has been emphasized in Parliament today that the next 12 months will be more crucial and a difficult period. 39,000 metric tons of gas have arrived in the island. 80,000 gas cylinders will be distributed per day. G7 backs debt relief efforts for Sri Lanka. Foreign news, the US President says US fully backs Sweden and Finland NATO bids. And with that, we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.